a scapegoat, a Unca Buck, a Buttercup, visual novel, yeah. Hey, Georgia. Hey, Brooka. Hey, Monocam. Guess it might put me to sleep. Yeah, not keen on... They didn't have the money to get it. Like, they didn't have, like, you know... They don't have, like, musical ability to make their own music, and they don't have the money to commission somebody else to make all the music. So it's just Creative Commons stuff. And yet I still got a copyright... Like, I still had to cut music from a couple sections of last week's video because of copyright stuff. Yeah, I'm just sort of looking at, looking at a guide. I'll listen to music I make myself, otherwise it's unethical stealing. Alright, give it a couple more minutes, see if Hey, Joanna. We'd probably do... hey, Rebecca. Damn, I see these games. So yeah, we probably have enough of a quorum to get started, but I'll give it a couple more minutes, see if, you know, like Savannah or Catherine are able to come in. Hey, Grimace. Hi, Belle. I was just getting tired of the music on the start screen there. Not every week because I asked about the sex tape. Honestly, that sounds fair, Joanna. The fact that you only got timed out for a week and that it wasn't a complete ban? I'm inclined to think Chantel may have been generous with you in that case, Joanna. Hey, Nina. The way I see it, there's two possibilities. Either it is her, in which case she doesn't want to be fucking asked about it. She doesn't want to be fucking asked about some dude putting out fucking revenge porn of her. Or two, it's not her, in which case she doesn't want to be asked about somebody putting out revenge porn claiming it's her. In neither case, nobody wants to be asked about fucking revenge porn, Joanna! Nobody wants to be asked about that kind of shit, Joanna! So yeah, consider yourself lucky that it was only a timeout. In any event, let's get into the game. Fuck off, Rebecca. Into the game. That was loud. I'm aware, Buttercup. Deliberately loud. So, last week, we created our character, and we talked to a bunch of people. You don't have time for any more conversations. Dinner is about to be served. Hey, impressive impression achievement. You earned the maximum amount of insight during the welcome feast. For dinner, you are seated between the Dowager Countess, who spends most of dinner pretending to be much more deaf and dumb than you suspect she is, and one of the warrior ladies of Skuld, who spends her time stabbing her dinner with her knife, like she's afraid it is not quite dead yet, and wants to put it out of its misery. I pause. I kind of like the Skuld lady. If that were not enough, Lord Blaine is seated directly across from you, and spends dinner glaring at you with such a sour intensity, you have trouble enjoying your quite excellent food. One day I'll test your X-Men knowledge. So you call yourself an expert. I could try to find an X-Men quiz on YouTube. I did a Star Trek quiz. A couple days ago. Like I recorded a video of me like doing a Star Trek quiz a couple days ago. Got 31 out of 40. I'm really 30 out of 40. I only got like 30 out of 40. Yeah, I could record like a X-Men quiz. Anyway, Lord Blaine. Let me romance Lord Blaine, damn it. Rogue is your favorite? I like Shadowcat, Cyclops, love Karma. Rockslide and Anil are a great pair. Anyway. But your hard work making an impression earlier has not been forgotten. Even at your distant end of the table, you receive attention from other delegates. After receiving a particularly nasty glare from Lord Blaine, Princess Penelope, seated nearby, sends you a sympathetic look. I thought I said hi. Hi, Paws. Princess Anael catches your eye during the soup course and grins approvingly. When this further outrages Lord Blaine, she throws a piece of bread at his head. Let's just say she has impressive aim. Yeah, go Anael! Told everyone to come over here, but she's not even here herself. To be fair, I don't think this is the kind of thing that would interest her. Yeah, I love Anael. Whop! Chucking bread at a dude. Big fancy dinner, and she's just chucking bread at a dude's head. You catch humming of Heis watching you. When you look up and your eyes meet, he sends you a saucy wink, pulls a coin from behind his ear, and hands it to his servant with a whisper. For the rest of the meal, you find your wine glass filled to the brim at every opportunity. Why, thank you, sexy bare-chest man. After successfully driving the ladies of Arlan seated near him to blushing incoherence, Prince Zara looks around, bored, spotting you. He lifts his glass in salute, gifting you with an intense smolder that has a touch more sincerity than the ones he has been giving his seat partners. Doesn't interest me either, but I'm still here. I mean, fair, I suppose. Just like to drop in time to time. So smart about a lot of things. I'm also really stupid about a lot of things. I'm really goddamn stupid about a lot of things, so... Anyway, thank you as well, bare-chested sexy man. Tugging on the collar of his shirt and looking distinctly uncomfortable, Duke Leon catches your eye, and the pair of you share a moment of mutual sympathy. Wearing your black t-shirt? Yep. My plain black t-shirt. This one has no graphic... This is not a graphic t-shirt, this is just a plain t-shirt. Princess Gisette notices your discomfort and nods acknowledgement at you. It might be just your imagination, but you feel as if her smile is edged with a tint of cruelty. Nah, she's a bitch. Princess Gisette is, like, the worst. She might... Yeah, I think she might be the worst person in the game. Like, not even exaggerate. Like, I think she might be the worst person in this game. I kind of like her. I kind of love her. Jared is also awful, and Ava Lee is kind of shit, is not a great person. No, I didn't figure out how to cheat. I tried. I looked into it a little. I tried a couple things and I couldn't figure it out. Princess Cordelia winces in sympathy after your seat partner from Skult expresses her appreciation for the food by burping, loudly, directly in your ear. Rude, Skult lady. Lady Avalee takes a break from charming the men around her witless to give you an appreciative smile as you deftly turn a boorish insult from Lord Blaine into a compliment to yourself. Okay, she's not actually that bad, but she's not great. But even with this attention, you find dinner a tiring affair, so when it is finished and all the delegates are summarily dismissed to their rooms, you find it a bit of a relief. Trying to cheat the game? I did. I tried to cheat to boost my stats a little bit. I couldn't figure out how to do it. It has been a tiring day. So after Sarah and Rhea have helped you undress and wash, you sink into bed and wait for sleep. Hey, Boop. Can't stay to watch today, but wanted to say I hope everybody's doing okay. Thanks, Boop. When it does not immediately come, you notice that next to your bed, a book on the history of the summit has been placed. All these women with large assets. Do you want to read it? Yes, absolutely, because we had a stat boost from it. 100 years ago, the Seven Kingdoms were on the verge of destruction. Centuries of constant warfare, bitter feuds, horrifying tragedies, and endless misunderstandings had taken their toll. Not at all, Uncle Buck. Or not at all, Pause. Absolutely, you can give Uncle Buck the football updates. With no end in sight, it seemed there was no way off the path of mutual destruction. In the era of conflict, it seemed things like social niceties and diplomacy had no place and even less value. That the greatest legacy of the kingdoms was doomed to be nothing more than blood, death, and aching loss. That is, until the 16th birthday of one very determined princess. Princess Katia of Revere had already lost 3 brothers to the ceaseless fighting. She was determined that she, and others like her, those not allowed to fight, would lose no more. Katia was clever as well as brave, charming as well as calculating, and most of all, she was very inventive and very determined. She invited important young people from all of the kingdoms to celebrate her birthday, but, thinking it a trap, no one would agree to come. So Katia learned of a small, mysterious island in the middle of the sea connecting the kingdoms. She went to this island, known only as Vale Isle, and she had a grand castle built. Again, she sent out invitations, this time promising neutral ground. Again, her invitations were refused, this time citing the danger of assassins and trained guards. So Katia sent back her own people, and trained the mysterious island natives in the ways of service. Then she sent out the invitations once more, this time banning the attendance of guards, servants, or attendants. No one was to come, she insisted, save for the young nobles and royals themselves. By this time, the young people in question had grown mighty curious. What sort of person would go to so much trouble simply to celebrate a birthday long since past? Furthermore, if they went, they could find the answers to many of their pressing questions. Was it true, they wondered, that the female warriors of Skult drank only the blood of their male victims? Was it true that the pirates of Heist made sails out of skulls and bone? Did the Emperor of Corval truly have a house of 1,000 wives? This time they accepted. Not all, of course, but enough. 7 from every kingdom. When they arrived at the Isle, they found themselves well greeted and feasted. There were parties and plays, dances and friendly duels. And all along, there was Princess Katia, convincing them to stay just a little longer, to forget just a little more that their nations were at war and hated one another. It turned out that the Skult princess, when asked about drinking blood, could only laugh at the ridiculous thought, and seeing her laugh, no one could find her quite so scary, or so strange. The Corval prince, upon being asked how many wives he had, proclaimed, "Why none?" and then happily opened the position to any pretty applicants. Smooth, dude! Smooth! Bro is smooth! I like that. How many wives do you have? None! Are you interested? The pirates of Heist were baffled to think how anyone thought a ship made with bone could sail, and offered to take everyone for a ride on their ship. Weeks passed, and the young people began to realize that none of the others were so very strange, or so very different. They might, under different circumstances, be friends, or more than friends. In particular, it is said, they were all, male and female alike, more than a little in love with Princess Katia. As time went on, the kingdoms became more and more impatient for the return of their children. They sent ships and warriors, bent to retrieve them at all cost. But even the best ships and the best sailors couldn't find the isle. They all returned, empty-handed, filled with stories of heavy mists and vain searches. They sent angry letters to their children demanding their return. But by now, Katia had convinced them they were not so different, that they did not have to fight, and most importantly, that they were not powerless in the face of endless conflict. So the young people sent letters of their own, refusing to return home. This enraged their families, who sent threatening letters to Katia. Katia sent thoughtful letters back, saying she would allow a single representative, an ambassador, from each country to visit the Isle, authorized to negotiate on behalf of their country. The ambassadors arrived, thinking to be facing kidnapping and extortion. Instead, they were greeted by a grand ball and the charges they were set to rescue, all happy, well, and getting along. This surprised them no little amount, but nowhere near as much as what happened next. In what later became known as the First Summit, the ambassadors and the young nobles and royals sat down and negotiated for a solid week. They hammered out peace treaties, trade agreements, and marriage alliances. When they were finished, 7 weeks had passed, 7 couples were married, and the 7 kingdoms were finally at peace. It was not an easy transition, and there were many fears that no number of marriages or treaties could change anything for long. So Katia proposed a plan. She would stay on the Isle waiting, and every 7 years, the 7 kingdoms would send 7 young delegates for 7 weeks to arrange 7 more weddings. This way, she argued, understandings between the nations could continue to grow. Alliances would be strengthened. Negotiations resumed. They might not all trust each other, but by the end, they all trusted Katia, no longer a princess, having forsaken title, family, and country, so she could be a neutral voice. You blink, trying to force your tired eyes to read further, but finally give up. Just gained a little knowledge of history and politics. Sometimes your choices, like this one, will result in an increase to your skills, but they won't generally be pointed out, so keep an eye on your skills in your page. Feels like I'm reading you a bedtime story. You put down the book, your eyes feeling too heavy to keep open any longer. Finally, you manage to fall into an exhausted sleep. While this day and your first impressions have been important, it pales in import compared to your next. Tomorrow, you meet the matchmaker. Dun dun dun! Your first night at the summit was not an easy one. Hey, Catherine! You just missed the entire history of the summit. Having so many important conversations in a matter of hours had been... I'm inclined to think tiring. Or possibly interesting. Would be for me. Oh, hell yeah. Sounds awful to me. Just pulled all the latex, hard collodion, and FX gel off my face for the 4th shower today. It's fun doing the FF binge. Games on Amazon. Only gonna be on the iPad tonight. That's fine, Uncle Buck. So yeah, I'm gonna go tiring. Talking and talking and more talking. So much company and conversation left you absolutely beat. And so you went to bed, mind racing with thoughts of the previous day. The sun streams through your windows and dances across your tired eyes far sooner than you would have wished. You slept very poorly, for you spent many hours logically cataloging everything you and others had said for a performance analysis. Yep, that feels accurate. Just laying there for hours analyzing every single word that you or anyone else said. Yeah. And if your own mood and worries wasn't enough, your neighbor spent several hours loudly sobbing. And so you had no choice but to... comforter? Suddenly remember that hell embarrassing thing you did like 10 years ago? Yeah. Privacy or comfort? Comfort? Comfort her. It wasn't in your nature to leave suffering people alone, so you knocked on her door and rubbed her back while she talked about how scared she was about being here and visiting the matchmaker. Finally, you managed to fall into a fitful sleep filled with ominous dreams. You were too sensible to read anything into them. In what seemed like an eternity, but far too soon for your tired body, it was time to get up and get ready for the day. Did you manage to get up yourself? Sort of? Yeah, I think I'm gonna say, sort of? You managed to open your eyes and get halfway out of bed, but you wouldn't say you were fully awake until Rhea hands you a steaming cup of morning chai. Hey, Barbie life. After Rhea and Sarah finished helping you to bathe and dress, Jasper came in the room carrying a steaming tray of breakfast. It is best you eat up, my lady. I expect it will be a trying day. You will need all the fortifications you can muster. You sit down to eat. Even if nothing else positive could be said about the summit, not that you are saying there isn't any, no one could say anything about their cooks. The food is absolutely divine. You look up after one particularly delicious bite to see Rhea eyeing your food a little hungrily, and you remember that Vale Isle servant tradition means that neither she nor any of your other servants are allowed to eat on their own until you have, and have started your day. Feels like I tore off the first 5 layers of my face. Like a chemical peel. Love the character art. Yeah, I mean the character art's okay. Hey, oranges. You're weird, Barbie. But there's no rule that says you can't share. You look down at your almost inhumanly large amount of food Jasper has brought you. Do you wish to share? No, it was your food. I don't want to get this game, but it's like money. Fair. Well, the good thing, Barbie, is by getting to watch me play it, you'll get an idea of like whether it's worth the money for you. Anyway. You smile and invite Rhea, Sarah, and Jasper to join you. Jasper bows gracefully and declines, but you think you can detect a twinkle in his eye that suggests he appreciated the offer. Rhea, after you send her another reassuring smile, joins you happily. More reluctant, as if afraid you'll change your mind, Sarah takes a single pastry. Like watching people play things. Once breakfast was over and done, and Jasper had cleared away every last crumb, he turned to you, a more serious expression than was normal for even his stoic face. My lady, it will soon be your turn to visit the matchmaker. Do you know what that means? You had heard rumors, of course, but no one you had talked to knew for certain who the matchmaker was, or how exactly she did what she did. Jasper nods seriously, sensing the hesitation on your face. When Princess Katia first came to the Isle, she gathered the natives of Vale and explained to them her purpose. Even though war had not touched the shores of the Isle, they thought peace was a worthwhile goal and agreed to her plan. She spent years training volunteers in the duties and positions she thought would be most important. Of these, one of the most important is the matchmaker. It is the matchmaker who makes the final decision on who should be allowed to court. It is she who presents her 7 final candidates for marriage at the end of the summit, and it is she who can make sure you fail to make any suitable match at all. Even if marriage is not your goal, her opinion holds weight with the chaperones and ambassadors of the nations. So basically, you are saying it's very important I impress her? He nods with brisk emphasis. Yes, my lady. That is exactly what I am saying. And impressing the matchmaker is no easy task. Today is the initial interview. She will spend some time with you and get to know you and make an initial assessment. It is important for your future here that you do as best as you can. Jasper's warning warm on your ears. You find yourself led through the never-ending corridors of Vale Castle on your way to meet the woman who apparently would be a great factor in making your fate. You are forced to wait with Jasper outside her tall doors, even though you arrive only a little early. Apparently the interview before yours is going over. Just when you are about to lose your dignity entirely and twiddle your thumbs in boredom, the door is thrust open and a sobbing man rushes out. Hook up with Jasper? I mean, that's an option. You can. And one of the servants, I think maybe Rhea. I think you can hook up with Rhea. It might be Sarah. I don't remember which of them. Can we play Date Everything? You play Date Everything, Buttercup! Play it your damn self! Anyway, yeah, reduced a dude to tears. Good job, matchmaker. Do us all a favor and swim home! Okay, I like this lady. I thought we were playing Date Everything. No. This is Seven Kingdoms, The Princess Problem. I did complete Date Everything. So you can watch my, you can't go back, once we're done here, after this stream, you can go back and watch my Let's Play of Date Everything. If I streamed it, would you watch? I don't know, it would depend on my mood. Anyway. You blink in surprise as a crinkly, angry voice shouts after the fleeing candidate. Satisfied her words were chasing him down the hall, the voice took to muttering. Yes, you run home, you useless waste of space. I can't believe your nation thought you were a worthy representative. Jasper cleared his throat delicately, and the owner of the muttering voice realized we were there. Ah, Jasper's girl. Right on time. Well, might as well come in then. Jasper indicates you should enter before him, so you do. Inside, you find a small room filled with large painted wooden panels, a group of stuffy old men taking notes, and most noticeably, an older woman who can only be the matchmaker. Although she is small in stature, no one would ever fail to notice her, so large was her presence. Sharp emerald eyes cut into you, her wrinkled face stretched by how tightly her white hair is pulled back. You have no idea how old she actually is, with her air of entitled age and wisdom, and a sharpness only decades and decades of practice of assessing and dismissing people can make you. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised if someone told you she was the same matchmaker Princess Katia had trained herself. As you stand hesitantly in the door, her sharp gaze turns into an even sharper glare. Well, stop dithering in place like a silly chicken about to lose its head, and come in and introduce yourself, girl! Intimidated by the fierce woman, you find yourself unable to take those steps, until Jasper subtly pushes you forward. Courage failure! Woo! There's going to be a lot of failures here. Although he did his best to avoid detection, the matchmaker notices you needed an extra nudge, and gives one of the note-taking men a frowning nod, and they frantically write something down. Now that you are inside the room, you remember her second directive was to introduce yourself. You know that there is a proper way to greet her, but your knowledge of etiquette is not so well ingrained that you can remember what it is, while under so much pressure. Only 13 in here, intimate. Sensing your panicked hesitation, Jasper smoothly interjects. This is Lady Nicole from GL, Lady Matchmaker. The matchmaker quirks her eyebrows at one of the writing clerks, and they hasten to make a note of your breach. The matchmaker doesn't react at all to your introduction. You have the sinking feeling that she knew who you were all along. You are beginning to feel very much like a puppet on a string she's enjoying make dance. Her eyes turn sharp as she looks you very deliberately over, from the seams of your hem to the top of your styled hair. Let's get a look at you then. Make that a puppet that she's considering buying, but finding displeasing to the eye. Now, there's nothing very pleasant about you at all, now is there? Charisma failure, beauty failure, charm failure. 3 failures in 1! Woo woo! Efficient. Jasper gives you an encouraging look in light of the matchmaker's insulting assessment. The intimidating matchmaker catches the look and turns her sharp gaze on him. Then looks at you, then looks at Jasper again. I suppose you will be wanting him to stay for your interview. You know better than to say anything, but you do shoot Jasper a pleading look. You would feel so much better knowing you had him with you. She's mean. Oh, she is very mean. It's her whole thing. The matchmaker doesn't miss your look and shakes her head disapprovingly at you. It's a deep pity when a girl can't manage to stand on her own 2 feet and is always forced to depend on others. In any case, what you want doesn't matter. Your butler is not allowed to stay. You manage to bite your lip in time to keep from demanding to know why she even asked you then. The matchmaker waves Jasper away and then imperiously indicates that you should sit. You take the seat she indicates, the chair directly across from her at the small table where she is settled. Having watched you settle in, the matchmaker gives you a scornful look and sighs heavily. I suppose you have come here with your mind full of ideas of happily ever after and true love with the perfect prince. Get the same vibe from her that I get from the matchmaker in Mulan. Wouldn't be surprised if that was, if she was part of the inspiration. So, quick spoiler, none of these options will impress her. I just want to say, there's literally no winning with her. Pick the most outrageous. Unfortunately, there is no outrageous option here. I'm not expecting love, but I won't turn it away if I happen to find it. She frowns and shakes her head. No one likes a girl too afraid to take a proper stance. So yeah, don't think love is too much to ask for. Naivety is not an attractive quality in a future royal or high-ranking lady. Love has no place in alliances of state. No one likes a cynic, dear. So, you want love? You're naive. You say, love has no place in alliances of state? You're cynic. I'm not expecting love, but I won't turn it away if I happen to find it. No one likes a girl too afraid to take a proper stance. She's kind of charming that way. I should probably try to give her an English accent to match Jasper's. No one likes a girl too afraid to take a proper stance. Well, girl, what are you waiting for? Serve me the tea. Hey! I passed a test! My very first success! It's an unexpected request, but you manage to maintain your composure and recover quickly. You spot the tea equipment in front of you and prepare to serve it. You notice that in addition to the normal blends of tea, there is something out of place. Hey, another one! You remember hearing whispers of it on the streets. Ground benvalent root. Adding some to the tea, and the person who drinks it will be in a better mood and feel more affectionate towards those around them. Side effects include painful stomach cramps the following day, however. You have the opportunity to sneak some into the matchmaker's tea. Do you? She's even serving her tea like in the... I suspect that, that this is probably... I suspect that, they're probably fans of Mulan. So let's see. No, basically poisoning someone into liking you better isn't right. Or yes, it's clear this isn't going very well. Side effects or not, you can use the help. So do we try poisoning this lady to get her to like us more? Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cow! Pretty plugged in, she's supposed to join. No worries if she doesn't join. Like I said, I'm not gonna expect her to sit through something that, that she would absolutely find boring. And by something she finds boring, me. I mean me. Hi-oh. Gross is an option. So yeah, do we poison the lady or not? One of my gym shirts. Is that silly dragon saying dishonor on your cow? I say yes. I say we try. Maybe she will, no. Aw. I was thinking maybe she'd appreciate. I want to see what happens. Sneaks them into her teacup, hoping she won't notice. But you should have known better. She quirks an eyebrow at you. Naughty, naughty. You can hardly hope to win people over by cheating. Alright, so... Hi, Steffi. Basically, poisoning someone into liking you better isn't right. You had hoped that if she noticed your decision, she would at the very least be a little grateful that you hadn't made her sick. But no, she definitely noticed, but she doesn't seem very impressed by you. Very ethical of you, my dear, but perhaps not very wise. Others will not hesitate to take similar advantages, leaving you either behind, or perhaps even dead. She breaks out into an eerie smile. Not that it matters in any case. I have developed an immunity to that particular drug. Now serve the tea, girl. I can already see it is getting cold. So yes, slipping her the Mickey wouldn't have helped. Perhaps it was nerves, or, more likely, just your complete lack of grace and finesse, but instead of gracefully pouring the tea in the cups, you lose your grip and send the teapot flying, directly towards your lap. Grace failure! You aren't able to protect yourself from being soaked in tepid tea. Self-defense failure. The matchmaker gives your newly damp lap the side eye as she hands you a napkin. Again, notes are scribbled, giving a symphony to your shame. Well, no use crying over spilt tea, I suppose. Your performance thus far has not left me with much hope, but perhaps we will be granted a small miracle this morning, and you will manage to surprise me. Let us see if you have any conversation. What do you talk about? Try famous wars. You jump into an animated discussion on various famous battles and strategies. While at least you aren't wrong about what you are talking about, it's a rather barbaric subject to discuss over tea, don't you think? What do you talk about? History. You attempt to remember some historic... Politics? Guess not. Academic theory. You aren't even more than a few words into your awkward attempt to discuss more academic topics before she holds up a pained hand. No, stop there. Just stop. Academics failure. Politics. You attempt to discuss some of the finer points of the current political situation, but your limited knowledge on the subject is not for the matchmaker's unimpressed scrutiny. If that is your understanding of the topic, forget marriage. I fear for your survival, girl. History. You attempt to remember some historical information that you might find worth discussion, but under her bored stare, you find yourself mixing up facts and dates. In the future, attempt not to elucidate others on your ignorance so clearly, girl. Staring at you, she shakes her head disbelievingly. Honestly, child, I have no idea how someone like you has chosen to come here. Bad luck, frankly. My cousin got married. I got screwed. I was the only option. There's a pause as you realize she's waiting for you to explain. Upon her disapproving gaze and the rapid note-taking of her failure recording assistants, you stumble through a summary of how you ended up a delegate. Well, if you never took the test, I understand why you are far less impressive than your fellows. It's a shame, but you seem singularly unimpressive, Lady Nicole. Didn't you prepare for the summit? Once again, no good option. Of course I did, in great detail. Well, perhaps therein lies the problem. If you prepare too much, you lack flexibility and adaptability, both very important skills. I wanted to root for you, truly I did. Jasper's a dear boy, and I had hopes that his lady would be up to par, for his sake if nothing else. But I have to say I find very little redeeming about you. You may think well of yourself and your high intelligence, but brilliant brides aren't in as high demand as you might think. Your complete lack of calculative intelligence can only be considered a defect when considering the demands on a lady of power. Cunning failure. While you have good insight, that may very well lead to a path of dangerous arrogance. You do have some leadership qualities, but a leader must have more talent, or else they will just lead everyone to failure, like lemmings off a cliff. You are completely unable to influence people towards your will, a rather necessary skill for life, but especially for the summit, don't you think? Manipulation failure. And you have absolutely no practical knowledge whatsoever. I'm surprised you haven't starved yet. Practical knowledge failure. And that's not even mentioning your personality. You might think you are simply logical, but to many others you appear to be cold. I'm sure I'm not the only one who finds it annoying when someone never says or does what they really mean. Having no ambition makes you seem aimless. It's a real shame when someone has no imagination. And I've always found gray eyes very unlucky, especially when combined with dark brown hair. In short, I don't feel confident making a match or recommending you to anyone. Any further time spent together would be a waste of time. You should go. The matchmaker nods at some of her assistants, and they leap up to open the heavy doors. You manage to walk out instead of run, and with your head held high instead of in furious tears, so at least you can take some small comfort in having more dignity than your predecessor. In one small mercy, Jasper seems to correctly assess the situation with a simple glance, so you don't have to tell him just how badly you have just performed. It seems so illogical that she could find so many faults with you, some of which you didn't even agree were flaws at all. Even if it hadn't been your intention to come in the first place, being found so wanting is unpleasant. Jasper appears to have some sort of butlery magic, for not only does he seem to know exactly what happened, but also he has sensed your pensive mood. And you make a silent trip back to your room, during which you can collect your thoughts. Rhea looks up eagerly, and Sarah reluctantly. Seeing the expression on Jasper and your faces, theirs darken in return. But Rhea is disappointed only a moment. Soon she perks up and reassures you with a bright smile. Don't worry, Lady Nicole. The matchmaker doesn't really like anyone, and she's especially hard on people she's just met. She's famous for making people cry. Sarah looks at Jasper thoughtfully, as if asking in silent servant speak just how bad it was. It is not easy, but she has been known to change her mind if you can impress her again during your second interview in a few weeks. We have some time to improve you before then. Apparently she got her answer. It will require hard work, Lady Nicole, but we will do our utmost to assist you, and make sure you shine as brightly as you can. You aren't sure if that's a testament of their faith in you, or an insulting look into how they think you are now. In either case, you have just had your first real taste of failure. If you are smart and work hard, you might make it so you never have another. After giving you some time to recover from your morning ordeal with the matchmaker, Jasper appears, seemingly out of nowhere, with a small stack of envelopes and clears his throat deliberately. Forgive me, my lady, but I'm afraid we have pressing business to attend to. At the beginning of every week, Jasper will give you any letters or invitations you have received, ask for your plans when necessary, and inform you of any major events. First, I should remind you that at the end of the week, the big self-introduction event is scheduled. Since we have already had the welcome feast and the first meetings with the matchmaker, this is the only other major event this week. I am not certain if you have been informed, but it is customary for all the delegates to formally introduce themselves to one another. It is more of a speech than an informal gathering. You might want to consider brushing up on related skills. For what you say and how well you do will have an impact. It will be your next major challenge. Secondly, you have already received some invitations and letters. Remember, if you accept an invitation, you will not be able to change your mind or do something else during the time you have agreed to meet. The Princess Anael of Scott has invited you to spend some time this week sparring with her. Would you like to accept? Fighting with Princess Anna? That sounds scary, but... Hey, Apier. Why not? It sounds interesting. Plus, we love Princess Anna. Anna's awesome. Who doesn't like a lady that can beat your ass? Right? All of us here, we're all into ladies who could kick our asses, right? So yes, why not? It sounds interesting. You have received a note from Lord Blaine. Really? Why on earth would you receive a letter from him? You were pretty sure he was sending you looks he wished were lethal all through the night. To my incompetent rival, I just wanted to make it clear, on no uncertain terms, that whatever villainous spell you have cast on the fair Princess Anael will not long work. Soon I will have secured her heart, and you will have been sent back home in shame. I suggest you stop embarrassing yourself further, and instead of believing any empty flattery she may have given you last night, instead stay far away from her. Preferably downwind, so we neither of us are forced to endure your stench. Never yours, Lord Blaine. Well, that explains it. I love that, actually. I kind of love it. I honestly kind of love that he just sent a hate letter. Gotta appreciate the dedication. Though not necessarily the penmanship. His penmanship is... The Earl of Arland, Emmett, has invited you to join him on a nature walk when your schedule is convenient. Would you like to accept? I think about far better ways to spend my time with him. A nature walk sounds entirely agreeable. Plus, Emmett and his sister are great. Right? Oh no, I was thinking Lyle. Emmett. But Emmett is an adorable golden retriever. Emmett's great. He's just an adorable golden retriever. Hameen of Heis has invited you to... Jasper pauses almost imperceptibly, which of course only makes it that much more noticeable. Explore the castle. Would you like to accept? Exploring with a pirate? Sounds like an adventure! You have received a letter from Prince Zarad of Corval. To my most enchanting new acquaintance. I cannot help it. It is as if you have put me under a spell or trapped me in a fever. I'm afraid you might be the only cure to the illness you have so carelessly given me. If you have any measure of pity or compassion in your alluring heart, I beg you to join me this week to go stargazing. Only such a background is suited for your charms. Okay. Let me try reading that again. To my most enchanting new acquaintance, I cannot help it. It is as if you have put me under a spell or trapped me in a fever. I'm afraid you might be the only cure to the illness you have so carelessly given me. If you have any measure of pity or compassion in your alluring heart, I beg you to join me this week to go stargazing. Only such a background is suited for your charms. Your enraptured prince, Zarad. Would you like to accept his invitation to go stargazing? Not a fan of all that flowery flattery? Let's go, let's do it. I can't very well leave the poor boy under my curse. Except, it is not an invitation, but I have heard rumors that Duke Leon of GL has a habit of going to the library at night. If you wish, it's possible you might catch him there. Sure. I'll try and find him then one night when I have time. Jasper nods, having run out of letters and invitations to give you. I'm not sure if you are aware, Lady Nicole, but all candidates are given the option to host a weekly event. If you choose to do so, you will have to plan, fund, and host the event. But successful events can greatly boost your relationships and reputation. However, it will take you 2 blocks of time, one for planning and one for hosting. In addition, a failed event will be a waste of your time and resources, and there's no guarantee that those you invite will choose to accept. Still, if carefully managed, it can be very much worthwhile. Would you like to arrange an event this week, Lady Nicole? I think this week is not a good one for hosting. maybe it is. This guide I'm looking at does suggest it. Since basically this week. Yeah, it doesn't. I think so. I think with all this stuff I have to do, I believe that does leave me. Yeah. So, right now I have 3 free blocks of time. And unfortunately, the guide doesn't actually say, like, what the best event to do is. I want to see what the events are. I'm born hostess and ready to prove it. As you wish. This will leave you with 5 blocks of unscheduled free time this week. Is that acceptable? Yes, that's right. Very well. I believe we are finished then. I wish you luck this week. Today is the first day you can choose how to spend your time. Would you like a quick explanation? Sure. Every day is split into 2 time blocks, the day and the evening. For instance, since you met the matchmaker in the day, it is now evening. If there is an official event, if you have accepted an invitation, or if you have plans with someone, you will automatically use your time as you have already arranged. But if you haven't made plans and your presence isn't required elsewhere, you can choose what to do with your time yourself. By studying, you can increase some of your skills and knowledge. If you have good relationships, you can ask for advice in order to prove yourself. Or you can explore places in the castle in Unveil Isle. What you find and what happens depends on when and where you look. Good luck! Alright, I gotta check my skills. Figure out what I should be improving. Actually, there's... Explore the castle. Peetz, what on earth are you doing? It wasn't the most dignified position to be caught in, you admit. You sashay and wriggle your way back, from where you had been sticking your head underneath your bed, and grin at your butler. I was exploring. Under your bed? Just the room in general. The corners of Jasper's mouth twitch. And just what were you hoping to discover on this expedition? Something interesting. I assure you, my lady, you are by far the most interesting thing in this room. But you have to say that. I'm pretty sure it's in your butlery contract duties to think well of me. Speaking of my duties as a butler, don't you think we should be working on your skills in preparation for your self-introduction? You groan, but there is no escaping Jasper's strict training. By the end, you feel much better prepared to express yourself well, even if it's, Jasper, seriously, can't we stop? I'm dying. That was your goal to express. A new day dawns. Jasper walks up to you with a large stack of papers, some black invitation stationery, and a determined glint in his eye. My lady, it is time for us to plan what event you intend to host this week, and send out the invitations. First, we must decide what type of event it should be. For the first week, I've prepared 3 options that are appropriate for new acquaintances, and that we have the ability and resources to pull off. Are you disappointed that Jasper wants to start with something so appropriate and traditional? I would have preferred to do something more innovative, but well, always next time. Ignoring your moment of inattention, Jasper clears his throat and presents you with his ideas. What kind of event do you want to host? A morning tea? A musicale? A lecture from a guest historian? Ooh. Good options, good options. Totally sure it matters. Actually, I think it does matter. Oh, right, the skills you have matter. So I need to check what my skills are. Persuasion isn't great. Interpersonal insight isn't great. Quick wit is good. Grace sucks, so tea might not be a good option. How about musicale? Wish I could actually see All these choices just make me freeze up. History is a bit low. Also, this one gets the smallest attendance rate. I feel like I probably don't really have enough stats in a lot of the stats to pull off a though I might be able to boost my history. But again, the problem is not enough people come. What goes into the cumulative skills anyway? I want to see, like, I really need to check what where I'm at. Charisma 25 plus 35, so that's 60. Leadership, that puts you at 110. Oh, insight goes in. So that's 180. Poise goes. Okay, so my all right. So my persuasion's actually pretty good. I do have good persuasion. Because you need good persuasion for the thing. Alright, what was the other thing you needed? Interpersonal insight. Probably fine. Alright, so we will do the tea then. 20 to 3. Yeah, that doesn't sound great. A morning tea. Hosting a morning tea is one of the simplest and most fitting early events. It is especially appropriate for building friendship with others. Since it only requires things already easily available on the Isle, you can even host one at no cost. It is appropriate to invite a moderate number of people. Do you wish to host a tea? Yes. If you wish, there are some things that aren't normally available that you can purchase to enhance your event. How much gold do I have? 65 gold. Fancy tea cakes from Arlond. And a fancy tea blend from GL. And screw it, fancy chocolates from Corval. Why not? Done purchasing. Invite 6 people. Very well, now that our supplies are taken care of, it's time to consider the guest list. Remember that people will accept and refuse invitations based on their feelings towards you and the type of event you plan. Princess Penelope? Yes. What is my relationship with... Alright, so she does have some respect for me, so I think that's good. Lady Avalie. Can't invite them all. You can invite 6 people. And who you invite can affect some stuff. Hameen. I suspect Izette probably would not come, so I won't bother with her. Jasper. You can invite Jasper and the maids. It does get attention. Oh, actually, the maids won't attend. else should we invite? He won't come. She won't come. He won't come. So, 2 more. Need to take a Xanax. Oh, did you remember your Tylenol, Uncle Buck? If I invited Penelope, I suppose I should invite Lyle. One last. Buttercup, remind you? Okay, good. Alright, do we want to invite the Golden Retriever? The super etiquette lady? Or super flirty dude? So yeah, we could do like the super flirty dude. We could do the Golden Retriever. We could do this lady who's like super, like, always perfect etiquette for everything. So yeah, I'm thinking Zarad, Cordelia, or Emmett. Any preference on those 3? Flirty dude? Alright. Flirty dude it is. That is the rod, right? Yes. Planning your event has taken all morning. Nothing to do now but wait and see if your invitations are accepted. You're having a leisurely morning for once, lingering over your warm chai and the picked-over remains of your breakfast, when the sound of raised voices in the hall outside your door draws your attention.
Why, I say that ring you're wearing looks awfully familiar. Almost identical to one I brought with me, in fact.
What exactly are you implying? I don't remember what accent I tried to do for Heis.
What exactly are you implying? Why, nothing at all. It was my understanding you people from Heis positively pride yourself on stealing things that don't belong to you.
I see what this is about. You are simply jealous that the lovely lady from GL preferred my company to yours last night. Is this some attempt to accuse me of unfairly stealing her, too?
That's the problem with you pirate barbarians. You aren't just thieves, you are savages who don't know your place.
Ha! As if you lot are any better. Stealing away all the pretty ladies of the world and keeping them under lock and key in the inner court, never to see the stars and sea, nor feel the wind at their backs again.
You cannot be a thief of what you rightfully own.
Rightfully bought, you mean? I hate to break it to you, but whatever your precious emperor has told you, you can't actually buy happiness.
But you can steal it? But you can steal it?
By now their voices are raised to full-on angry shout, and your fears that this will surely escalate to a physical violence is not helped by the sound of a loud crash as something bumps into your door. This noise is immediately followed by two smaller thumps, and then the hasty sound of retreating footsteps. Your door is opened, and seemingly unbothered, not a single hair out of place, stands Jasper. My apologies, my lady. Had I any idea your morning would be thus disturbed, I would not have left you. Thank you for your quick return, Jasper. I feel much better knowing you are here. Having reassured himself you are well enough, Jasper stares at the now closed door thoughtfully. I suppose this is as good a time as any to make sure you are properly educated on the subject. You try and quell a look of horror. You have not known Jasper very long, only a matter of days, but it certainly has been long enough to know that his idea of educating and training is so rigorous and frightening, you have no doubt even the stoic veteran General Fallon would quiver at the prospect. What do you know of the tensions between Hyes and Corval? Not very much, I'm afraid. Just some rumors about pirate raids. Jasper nods. Hyes claims it is simply in their nature, that you can't expect a nation of pirates to never resort to piracy. Corval, being the richest of the nations, is one of their constant targets. The Emperor is not content to simply allow all of his trading vessels to be at constant risk of attack. Hey, Shelly. Damn creeps hanging around your door. Wonder what would have happened if I just opened the door and been like, hey guys, you want to take this fight somewhere else? Truthfully, I believe he is not far off declaring war on Hyes to eradicate the threat to his fortunes once and for all. The summit might be the only thing between our current uneasy peace and full-out naval warfare, so you had best be careful of the issue. In any case, that's enough of that. Isn't it time for you to leave for your morning plans? With some new information to think about, you nod absently and prepare to leave. Late but having a drink for Pa's birthday. Let's stop acting like jackasses and take that shit outside. All right. I'm looking ahead because there's certain skills that I need to have for one thing specifically later on. So I just want to double check, kick some non-FF7 butt. So I want to double check what skills I actually need to have for it. And see if I have see if I can get them. Had hella fun with the FF story time this morning. Or do I need my feelings, or cook here and just not go to bed hungry? I say cook there. But I'll always say that. I don't remember which thing improves which skill, actually. Alright. Come on. Hold on. Beauty tips, defend yourself. Less than I wanted, actually. Alright. Try the small library, I think. You can't quite remember where the book you remember seeing and wanting to read is. You were looking for it in a secluded corner of the small library when soft voices make you realize that you aren't alone. Oh. Thanks to one of the more useful of the unsavory talents you have picked up, you were able to sneak up close enough to eavesdrop.
I don't know how to make it any more explicit. It's bad enough the king and his ministers forced me to take the test and come here, but I have no intention of getting married at the whim of politics. You must think of the fate of our nation, my boy. The fate of one can hardly be balanced against the fate of so many. I hardly believe that my marriage or not will have any significant effect on either our nation or the many. Because you are only seeing parts of the picture. I see them just fine. I don't happen to agree with the conclusions you all have drawn. You are our most eligible young man of rank, my Lord Duke. It is your duty to GL to make a beneficial match.
We will reach no agreement when our definitions of duty are so inherently different. The general sighs.
You are as stubborn as a field full of oxen. At least try to get to know some of the ladies here. You never know. You might find one that appeals to you.
The Duke snorts. I estimate the possibility of that happening as near to zero. They move away from earshot, but you are pleased to have learned some secrets. When Jasper wakes you up with an even more steaming and hearty breakfast and a solemn reminder that you have agreed to spend your morning training with Princess Nail, you aren't sure if getting up or if burying yourself under your covers and refusing to come out would be a better idea. Jasper clears his throat, and you drag yourself out of bed to eat and get ready. You don't know the princess well, but you imagine if you didn't show up promptly and ready to practice, she would barge into your room and bodily drag you out of bed. Thus resigned to your fate, you put on your most casual, loose outfit and leave to meet Princess Anna in the large room that had been set aside for those who wish to keep up with the martial training, mostly meaning the ladies of Skult. Your hunch was correct. The way Anna bounces up to you filled with happy energy the moment you can be spotted through the open door, practically oozing unbridled enthusiasm, makes you think that she was already just holding herself back from charging towards your room to drag you out, and you are even a little early. Good morning, Princess Anna. She grins happily at you. It is, isn't it? I get to train and I get to spend time with you. I keep going into Scottish. I get to... Hold on. Yeah. I get to train and I get to spend time with you. It might be the best morning since I got to this tiny island full of poof poof roofies like that annoying bzz bzz. Lord Blaine. She makes a sour face. Yes, that one. I hope his ego wraps around his useless stick legs and trips him. But let us talk of happy things, like swords, and you! Swords and you. I kind of love that, actually. I'm not totally sure if it matters what options I give to any of these things, to be honest. Just checking to see if, yeah, thanks, so. I'd much rather be placed in the company of swords than in bugs, so I will take the compliment, Princess Anna. Anna grins at you happily. You should. My sword is one of my favorite things. I was very sad when I was forced to leave her behind to come to the Isle. Your sword is a she? Yes, she is very beautiful. Her name is Yin. But when I forge her a sister, maybe I will name her Nick. Since it's too soon for you to earn your first blade, if they even allowed anything sharper than one of your fancy forks, we will have to do something else today. We should practice how to get away if someone tries to take you. Do you really think I will have to be worried about being bodily abducted and carried away? Yes! You are in an island full of people wanting pretty wives. Who is to say they do not take a liking to you and just try to take you? No one should be taking my Nicole, unless she wants to be taken. Think Dasha. I mean, I could try a Russian accent. So that is how you find yourself instructed to act normally, as Princess Anna creeps up behind you and catches you in a tight grip. You can tell her title as a warrior is not just for show. The arms that hold you trapped are solid with pure tensed muscle, and you feel you might as well be held by iron bars. You're Scottish, Gunther? I know, every accent I do slips back into Scottish. Except my Scottish accent! She laughs, a happy sound that reminds your ruffled danger instincts that this is just play, then purrs merrily into your ear. So I have caught you, my pretty Nick. How are you going to escape? Remember an article you read once about pressure points and human vulnerabilities to target a weak spot and pull yourself free. Although until this point the knowledge you gained from that article remained purely theoretical, the theory seemed sound. You decide testing it out as a worthwhile experiment and reach for one of the spots you read about on Princess Anna's elbow and jab. Jerking reflexively, her grip on you loosens and you manage to free yourself neatly. Rubbing her elbow, Princess Anna eyes you with new respect. Impressive, Nick. I'm beginning to have a new appreciation for smart girls. Moves in forward. Now that I have seen what you can do on your own, I will teach you many tricks to escape the bad, stinky men. Will they all be stinky, my hypothetical kidnappers? When you are that close to someone in combat, they are always stinky. Do they not know about baths in Skald? What did you mumble? Nothing. Good. Now again! Anna keeps training you until your back has the uncomfortable sensation of sticky sweat. Your muscles are shaking unsteadily, and you are beginning to wish you had hid under your covers after all. Noticing your state, Anna, still looking fresh as a morning daisy, smiles and calls for a halt. You haven't managed more than to let your jelly limbs collapse into one of the chairs kept in the practice room for those who wish to observe, when one of the servants brings you an iced goblet of cold lemon water. You are drowning the drink gratefully when Anna, a glass of her own, settles down next to you. Do not be hard on yourself, Nick. It was hard for me too when I first started training. How long ago was that? My mother first took me out into the snowfields barefoot when I was 4 and left me to find my own way back to camp. After that, she would make me run instead of ride when we traveled and started toughening my feet and hands. But I did not pick up my first training blade until I was 6. Dang. Harsh. I do not know which is worse, what you were forced to learn, or beginning etiquette training at about the same age. Finally, an easy question! I would walk barefoot in hundreds of freezing winters, run many days without sleep, and fight an army of warriors, before I would spend all day practicing this etiquette, Which is just say, do not say, do not do. Everything good is bad. Bah! It is not so for all of my people, you see. Even by our standards, my mother's methods and training was considered harsh. But she could do no less. She is the queen, and I am her daughter. And she is a queen as we have not seen in many generations. That means there is no room for me to be anything less than the best. It is still a great weight to be placed on a young child. If I have learned anything since coming here to this castle of pretty proofiness, it is that we all have been given great weight since we were young. If we had not, we wouldn't be here at all. I suppose that's true. To be born into positions of privilege like we have been certainly comes with many heavy burdens of expectation and responsibility. Which is why we must seize this chance to make what few choices for our fates we can. That is what I plan to do. You should too, pretty Nicole. Find what will make you happy and chase after it like big sister wolf on the hunt. I will hope we manage to live up to such good wishes, for both our sakes. Hope is all well and good. Much better is due. Let us both be happy, pretty Nick. It's worthy goal, I think. Thank you for your good wishes in any case, and for your concern for my safety. I do appreciate what you've done for me today, Princess. Not Princess! Anna! Only Anna! Anna, then. Good! Anna grins at you cheerfully before spotting something in the distance and making a reluctant, grumpy face. Your watchy, starey shadow man is here. I suppose I must wish you farewell for now, pretty Nicole. Be careful, and keep training so no one can throw you over their shoulder and take you away. Jasper stands at the door, his presence a silent reminder that it is time to go. You bid the princess farewell, pleased that you even managed a half-reasonable curtsy with your shaking limbs and aching muscles. You are happy to escape back to your room for the chance to clean yourself and get a quick rest before your evening plans. Still, you are confident that not only do you now understand the Princess Anna better, but you are also much better equipped to defend yourself. You only hope that being forced to use your new skills against a stinky kidnapper is not as likely as Anna seems convinced it will be. Self-defense is now 35! Woo! Wish courage had gone up a little bit instead, as well. You returned from dinner feeling a bit overtired. You had spent the entire meal seated between two delegates, seemingly determined to argue the other to death. You couldn't help but feel weighed down by the words they had so heatedly exchanged. Welcome back, my lady. Jasper's greeting quickly turns into inquisitive concern, and before you know what is happening, you are repeating the argument you had been forced to sit in the middle of. What does I want? Let us give grace to the gods and thanks for the bounty of this meal. May they protect our great king, and may he prosper in good health. Did he become more cunning? I forget. There's specific skills for that. It seems excessively illogical that an entire nation would be so foolish as to buy into some great myth of gods, especially when there are no opportunities for advancement based on your performance, intelligence, or skill.
Your nation may be barbaric enough to respect your ancestors instead of the traditional and rightful gods that created us all, but even you have a king, lady.
A king bound by the advice and support of his ministers and scholars, men and women who have proven their skills and intelligence in many tests and forums.
Your king is bound to follow the advice of commoners?
Some are born common, others are born from the nobility. But yes, his advisors come from all walks of life. I think any man, especially a leader, would be wise to take the advice and counsel of any intelligent, worthy source. If this concept is so foreign, it is no small wonder I have found the fellows of your nation so shockingly inept and ignorant.
The lords and ladies of our land are second to none in honoring their duties and the expectations placed upon us by our great tradition.
And that is the great difference between enlightenment and slavery. In GL, not even a king would expect someone's blind obedience, especially not to something as ridiculous as traditional duties. Everyone is expected to make decisions based on logical deduction.
I will thank you to save such talk for your fellow heathens. I am finding it increasingly difficult to be polite in the face of such unnatural savagery.
I kind of love this argument because she's like being like all calm, like all logical and reasonable, all about logic and what makes sense, what's rational thought. And he's like,
you barbarians!
It's very conservative versus liberal coded. Where the liberal is trying to make, all these reasoned arguments with backing it up with evidence, and conservative is just like,
you godless heathen!
Savage barbarians! And for the rest of the meal, both of them had been so busy sending disdainful looks at the other, they'd almost put you off your food. Jasper looks thoughtful as you reach the end of your report.
I suppose it is no surprise that even the delegates from Arland and GL would succumb to the pressure of the summit and show their disagreements in such a public way. What do you know of the tensions between the two nations?
I know that they are one of the most unfathomably illogical of the nations in the way they have structured their society. Even the unsophisticated Skult make more sense to me. Jasper nods thoughtfully.
GL and Arland are not at odds in the ways of many of the other nations. I do not fear wars especially imminent. But as the differences and misunderstandings between the two nations grow, I fear unless steps are made to help the nations grow understanding and respect for each other, they will start to dehumanize the other in a way that can only result in future conflicts that will have high costs, perhaps in blood. In any case, I have no intention of further keeping you from your evening plans.
It takes you a moment of recovery post-dinner fiasco to realize that while you were gone, a note and a single purple rose has been placed in your desk. The note was simple. It is from Prince Arad telling you to meet him at the gardens next to the gazebo at sunset for your stargazing date. You didn't take long to get ready, and after the evening you had, you were looking forward to some cool fresh air and, hopefully, easy company. Prince Arad was famous for his womanizing ways, which surely meant he would be able to make the evening peacefully enjoyable, especially since he was sure to be on his best behavior. As the sky started to turn to dusk, filled with the vibrant colors that painted the sky only twice a day, you made your way outside. A small, brisk wind makes you huddle a little into your dress, feeling the slight chill of the night air. You reach the appointed spot, but Prince Zarad is nowhere to be seen. Lice the pitch and so are the factors. Since the piece is a nice change and the view is quite breathtaking, you settle in to wait happily enough. But the scenery captures enough of your attention that when someone speaks from behind you, you nearly jump out of your skin. Good evening, Lady Nicole. How positively surprising to find you outside alone. Have you been abandoned, or merely enjoying the view? Lady Avalee, good evening. I'm waiting for someone. Well, how positively unkind, letting a fine lady such as yourself wait. If you point them out, I shall be happy to reprimand them for you. Feeling, as always, a little overwhelmed by the pure force that was Lady Avalee, you smile and murmur your thanks. By happy coincidence, I'm already waiting to meet up with someone. A certain charmer with quite the reputation from Corval, as it happens. There's only one person matching that description, and he was the person you were supposed to meet. Was there some sort of mistake? Had Prince Zarad invited you both and not bothered to tell either one of you? There was no point in wondering about all sorts of nonsensical scenarios. The truth would end up being the truth, and wondering about it wouldn't change anything. As if sensing your hesitation, Lady Avalee smiles wolfishly at you and leans closer. And who are you waiting for, Lady Nicole? Although her expression, her posture, her tone of voice all read friendly and harmless, you can't shake the feeling that she knows exactly how awkward and confusing she is making the situation.
That would be me. Good evening, Lady Avalee, Lady Nicole. I'm deeply sorry to be late. I was inexcusably held up.
Lady Avalee smiles brightly at you both, making sure to send Prince Zarad a flirtatious look through her thick, dark lashes. A shame you are otherwise occupied. Next time you want a partner to skulk around in the dark with, I hope you will keep me in mind. Laughing, she walks off, leaving the pair of you alone. Prince Zarad smiles at you, but you can tell something is different than before. You spend an enjoyable evening together, and he flirts shamelessly, but the calculating look in his eye that he had during your conversation, and during his brief interaction with Lady Avalee, is gone. Well, damn! You can't help but feel you have failed some sort of test, and as such he no longer shows you any of his true intentions. He wraps up your evening early and escorts you back to your room. Well, dang! I think not enough people skills, I think. Yeah, my people skills are 0, so yeah, I think that's what it was. It turns into a frustrating night, but at the very least, you think you are a little more political savvy for your troubles. I thought he was going to try to score. Everyone was letting me down. Alright. that is enough talking for me for today. Yeah, I think because my people skills are so low, it looks like. Ah, well. So yeah. 2 hours, that's enough talking for me. So, trivia tomorrow. We're gonna do trivia tomorrow. Should be fun times for all, right? So, that'll do it for tonight, so thanks for watching. And, good night, everybody.